So far. We are on day 26 of the workbook. Okay. I woke up today and I told you guys I do mine in the morning, and I just loved this morning. Like, I don't know what's coming in advance. I don't look at it, and I like to be surprised by what we're working on that day. So today was something in regards to the exercise was this I'm going to share. Write a one-page report to yourself, but written as if you are already 3 months ahead, describing the evidence that showed you this month that everything you're doing is working. Start with, looking back, the first signs were subtle, but I noticed this and that was the beginning. Example, I noticed days flowed with more ease, there was no traffic, everyone was looking at me in admiration, my work was appreciated more and more, spouse was more loving, kids were doing their homework, etc. So basically, this is an input. You take your journal and you're thinking as if it's 3 months from now, April 26, 2026, or you can do it 6 months from now, whatever seems believable to you. And you are talking about January 2026 as to the sign that you've observed of little things changing in your life. And this is based on the principle that time is not linear, that the future can affect the past, and that the way you think of yourself in the future will affect the way you behave in the now, which is the past of the future. And I really, really enjoy doing that. I actually did it in the morning and I wrote a whole page on it. And I hope you guys enjoy today's exercise also. If you guys don't know me, if you're new here, my name is Mona Khad. I teach mindset and manifestations tips to improve our lives via our mindset. I go from anything from spirituality and interpretation of spirituality to brain training and NLP and all sorts of things, everything in between. I'm all about integrating coherent practice. So basically, I see people as made up of the body, of the energy scaffolding, and of the spirit. So spirit informs the energetic body, which is also called the mind, not to be mistaken with the brain. It informs the mind, which informs the body. So all these three things work together in conjunction, and all these three things need to be in congruence for us to have a good life, for us to have the results we want, to live out the meaning that we're supposed to have, and basically to just feel good inside, which is the whole point of everything we're doing in this life, even when we're working to achieve something. Today's live will be packed because many things came up from last week. We're going to talk about letting go of the how and the meaning behind your goals. We're also going to talk about the signs and interpreting signs, and we're going to talk about sleep and dreams. So I'm not going to make anything esoteric. It will be an interpretation of how you have to handle these things when they appear, when you're dreaming about them, and how you have to look at it in order for it to be beneficial to you. So those are the topics for today, and I'm going to combine them with some questions that came in. So if you guys, meanwhile, whoever showed up on the live, I want to encourage you, if you want more clarifications on anything that I'm talking about. Many times it's just a monologue because I show up here and I just, I make some notes. I'm very organized about my thought pattern, and that's where I want to go with the discussion. But let me know if there's anything else you want to discuss in regards to these topics. Okay, so if you are part of my group and you are working on the workbook, which I talk about, which I put out, it's available in my bio. I want you to understand that this workbook is actually a pattern installation. And you will see that the more you go into it, this whole year I'm structured on identity, on us changing if we need to change, or stabilizing the identity that we want. And every single topic that I bring up, it will have to be about this. So I want you to take the topic and relate it back to how can I integrate this with the work that I'm doing, with changing my identity. So it all has to come back to that. So letting go of the how, why this came up is because I had a call with somebody this week, and we were talking about what's next to do, what's the next step, etc. People like to think when they have a goal, so letting go of the how ties with the goals. You have a goal. The moment you set yourself a goal, your brain is trained to look for a solution as to how you will get to that goal. So, I decided to get married. How can I get married? A, B, C, D. I need to date. I need to do this X, Y, and Z. If I want to relocate, if I want to get a job, if I want to do anything in life, how do I get? The brain starts getting in the way. But there's two ways of doing things in this world, okay? One is from 3D, which means from our existing system that's put in place here in this 3D reality. And that's with hard work, that's with whatever bit of luck that you can get, that's with pushing ahead, that's with just having this huge the world will resist any goal you have, and you just have to push through via extreme effort and ambition and never giving up. The other way to do things is to let the universe figure things out for you and align yourself slowly with the identity of the person that can achieve those things. Not the identity of the person that already has those things, but the identity of the person that can achieve those things. So for example, if you want to tour the world and be a public speaker, maybe right now you're shy. It's the identity of the person that is capable mentally, physically, to perform all that, to do all these things. So the way we do this in 5D, and my work is centered on 5D, is you set a goal, and then you sort of have to let it go. And people think, oh, this is easy, right? I'm just going to set a goal and then I'm going to forget about it. But the thing is, the brain doesn't forget about it. The goal becomes a burning desire that's really becomes a constant reminder of the lack of that thing, if that makes sense. Okay? So if I'm single and I want to be married, my goal, unless I do it properly with a formless substance and with holding the identity, my goal will just become this burning desire that I have that I'm going to notice is unfulfilled every single day. And my brain will not be okay with that. So my brain at this point, it will be like, hang on a second. You don't have that. And look at this lack. And then it will try to show me things that would deter me from my goal. Actually, my brain will deter me because brain wants to keep you into safety. You're safe the way you are. You know, the roof is not falling on your head, over your head. So you don't need to worry about any of these things. So you kind of like give up in a sense that you have so much doubt that you can ever achieve that you give up. That's different than letting go of a goal, just to clarify, okay? And I want to say you're never actually going to figure out the best way to achieve a goal just using your brain. Because no matter what way your brain figures out on how to achieve a goal, there's always a better way, there's always an easier way, there's always a way that takes less effort. So what I want to do is I want to set a goal, I want to let it go, and then I just want to follow my intuition. The more I do this work, what's happening to me personally is the less I want to do anything I don't have the intuition for to do. And the more I want to act immediately when I have the intuition to act. And I've put some testimonials in our group from myself. We have a thread where we talk about how the workbook is going and what's changing. And for me, what's changing is I wake up and I have an idea. And I'm going to execute on that idea. Like on Saturday, I woke up and I was like, today I am juicing all day. It wasn't like a plant juice. It wasn't anything. I looked up because I generally get my juices from the grocery store, but that's not like, then I have to select which juices. I don't know what I'm doing. So now I looked up immediately a company that does holistic days of juicing. And I was like, okay, I went in there, I got my package and I did it. Another day I woke up, I said, I'm painting my room. And this was like an intuition that I had. My room turned out so phenomenal. Like it went from a teal to a pink. I changed whatever I had on the walls. I changed the furniture. I changed everything. And a lot of the queens in my group reported that they had sort of the same idea. Like they moved furniture around. They donated clothes. They couldn't wear certain colors anymore. All of these are normal responses to a shift in identity. So set a goal, let it go, but follow every intuitive action, even if it doesn't seem related to that goal. Like you wake up and you decided to be married, right? That's your goal. But meanwhile, you just want to connect with some old colleague, maybe, you know, with another woman that you haven't said hello to in a long time. Who knows? Maybe that woman will introduce you to your future husband. So every single intuition that you have, especially in the morning, every idea that pops in your head that's not really you, and it's not destructive. It's just a strange idea, and you might dismiss it. You might be like, why would I paint my room? Why would I go, at the store and get this thing? Why would I do that? Forget that, right? How many of this we have that we absolutely dismiss in day-to-day life? And I want you to sort of think about that. There's a lot that we dismiss. And then I want you to contemplate on the meaning of the goals. What is the meaning behind your goals? This is very, very important, and I want you to pay attention. Because unless you can deconstruct a goal to its absolute naked meaning, you're going to work really hard to get there via very complicated ways. Why? Because the universe can respond only to meaning. So, whatever it is that you wrote down that you want to happen this year, why do you want it to happen? That is the meaning of it. And let's talk about it, right? So let's say you put in there, I don't know, whatever people want. You want to win the lottery. Everybody wants to win the lottery, right? And now you got to deconstruct that. Why? Because, I want to buy a house, or I want to pay off my mortgage, or I want to quit my job. Okay, so now you're getting to the meaning. Now from all that list, you have to say, what is most important to me? Well, the most important thing to me is I just don't want to go to this job anymore. Really, if I were to not buy a house and not pay off my mortgage, but still have that money, that meaning for me, even if I still lived in an apartment or a condo, would be what's the most important. I don't want to do this work that's killing my soul anymore. So you gotta deconstruct every goal to its absolute meaning. Oh, I want to get married this year. Why do I want to get married? Is it I'm feeling lonely? I want to be more acceptable in society. I want to have, dual income. I want to have 3 children. What is the most important thing in there? Well, the most important thing to me is I want to be held every night or something like that. Okay, well, guess what? When you have 2, 3 kids, the dynamic of your relationship will shift. And so if the meaning for you is just the love part, it's just the fact that you want that for yourself, you're going to quickly realize that it's not what's going to happen in that specific goal. So maybe the goal doesn't match the meaning. So I want you to really analyze goal against meaning for you personally. Okay, it's very personal. For me, being married might mean one thing. For you, might mean one thing. For me, if I get a check for 10,000, I might do one thing with it. For you, you might do a different thing with it, right? So what is the meaning behind the want, behind the goal? And when you get to that meaning, and when you really understand what is it that the spirit is craving, okay, not because an Instagram model has the same thing. Your spirit is actually craving that for a reason. Why is it that it's craving it? Then things will unfold easy. Believe me. Now, this is not easy work to unpack yourself that way, but it's not incredibly hard either. If you were to choose between continuing showing up for your job that you hate for the next 10 years versus spending extra time whenever you have the time, but it has to be every day, but find time every single day to sort of deconstruct all these things, you're gonna see everything, your perspective on things will change. I want you, if you're new here, if you like this advice, to go back to my YouTube, and I post there. I'm live once a week. All my lives are educational, and I post there everything, sort of my previous lives. And I want you to just go from January forward. Don't even go backwards unless you really, really like my content. But from January forwards, I really felt like something shifted in our group. And I think it's the workbook that we're doing. I think it's the fact that we sealed the 60-day practice, which we did as a group for about 2.5 years, or 2 years, something like that. And I feel like we're starting from a different point. It's a different vibration. And what's coming to me to talk about these days, it's not like I'm searching for ideas or looking. Whatever is coming up in my group or from my calls or popping in my mind, or some book appears, and I have so many books, and I'm thinking of that book and I open it up, and something I need to talk about, right? The group is available in my bio. Just go through all of my products, just read the description and see if it's for you. We did level up as a group. Yes, Mina, yeah, we absolutely did. I leveled up immensely just by sharing this information in the last 2.5 years, almost 3 years. My life has changed completely from 3 years ago, and knock on wood, keeps improving, and I'm just really happy. But the most important achievement is how I feel inside. Because ultimately, all the things that we want for this reason. We want in order to generate a feeling inside of us that will be completely different than the feeling of dread or the feeling of fear or the feeling of depression or whatever it is that the majority of people these days are feeling, especially in North America. Okay, so I find that for me, I really have a hard time doing anything that's not within my intuition. And I also learned more so this year that I need to act on my intuition immediately. Like I sent an email to someone immediately a few days ago, and I got the response that I wanted. And this is a person I hadn't talked to in a long time. It relates to some project I might want to do. But I really think that if I didn't act on it the moment the idea occurred, who knows, right? Because who knows at what energy level the other person is when you encounter them. But I think if your intuition is nudging you to do something, then you have to do it then. You can't do it 2 weeks from then. Oh yeah, I've been thinking of emailing this person. And then I didn't get a positive reply. Yeah, because you didn't do it right away. Or you didn't do it when the right energy, the right timing. There's such a thing as the right timing for everyone. If I have an intuition to go somewhere right now, it might be because I need to meet someone that I need to meet in order to go to step 2, step 3 of the goal. Remember, I did a video on letting go of the how, and this is how people explain it. When you place your delivery or your request here, you buy a product on Amazon, you really don't think about the logistics on how that item is being delivered to you. Now, you still pay for the item, but you are the customer, not the logistics manager, not the delivery guy, not even the person creating the product. You are the customer who's just sitting and effectuating payments and waiting for the delivery. And the delivery comes within a reasonable amount of time if that's all you do. Now, if you start canceling the order, reordering, canceling it with your doubts, start calling the company, being on the phone, getting frustrated, saying, forget it, I don't even need this. Now your whole energy system is rattled. If you start doing all of that, you're not gonna get the item, right? So you really have to trust that there's an intelligence that's higher than your brain. In my work, I call this the formless substance or the neutral machine. And it's this fabric of reality created, just like us, created to respond to us, to our whole energy system, not just to our intelligence, not just to our thoughts, not just that, but to the sum total of who we are. And it's responding perfectly. Now, many people think, oh yeah, the universe, this is popularly called the universe, by the way. And when I talked about the universe, I don't mean God. I want everybody to be very, very clear on one thing. When I say the neutral machine, I hope everybody understands the meaning of neutrality. Neutral machine, the formless substance, the universe, is not benevolent. It's not like what New Age is telling you, we're all one and love and light and all of that. Okay? It's neutral means it executes the good and the bad. It just executes. Are you guys with me? Are you guys with me? Neutral does not mean benevolent. It's not benevolent to you. It's not invested in your good. It doesn't want to harm you, but it will harm you if that's what the instruction is. So I want everybody to have this clarity of mind that it's not love and light. And I don't know what everyone's, because my audience is so diverse and it's from every religious culture, etc. Whatever your relationship is with God, I don't want you to mistake that for the universe and for the way the universe is taught in New Age. The universe is not a substitute for God. But I think based on what I'm teaching and stuff, your religion or your practice, as long as you see God is invested in your good, it fits right in. Like it has no problem fitting in, right? So the letting go of the how, just to wrap this up, it's sort of like it's the absence of resistance when you transmit a thought. And if you notice, if you read your list of goals, if you notice, when you transmit a thought, when you have a goal, you will find that there is some resistance in you. that either thinks the goal is too big, that's generally the typical resistance, or that it can't happen for someone like me. Whatever that like me, whatever who you identify with, that's usually your age, your skin tone, your social, economical status, where you come from, your parents, your background. So it would have to do with that, the identity that's been programmed into you. So say a goal from your list and notice in that second, where is the resistance at the moment of transmission? That is when your brain is trying to calculate the how. How can this happen for a person like me? The moment the brain takes over, the universe is out. This is why most people, I really believe this, and I catch myself in this. When you try to figure out how, really, I read back, and this is why I keep all these journals and everything. I read back even my 60-day challenge, everything, all the entries that I've made, and I realize so many things have happened exactly the way I wrote them. And my queens can testify to this, okay? If you've done the 60-day challenge, you look back and you're like, yeah, this happened. It happened. I affirmed X and Y and Z, and this is what happened. But that's because you forgot about it. You put it down and you forgot about it. So you really let go of the how. So the things you can actually forget about, if you can force yourself to forget about it. I don't know how to forget things, you know what I mean? But the ones that I do forget, they just tend to materialize. Right? So that's about the letting go and the meaning behind goals. We all have our goals. And I told my queens, write them out either in the workbook or write them out somewhere. And then all I want you to do is do this, okay? Do this year. Or it's a 12-month work. You can start anytime. But do this, and just while you're doing this, don't even read the goals that you originally had. And then we have an exercise at the beginning of each new month that's about a day in the life of the person that you want to be. And you'll notice that in the 12 months, you won't make the same entry, because you're going to want to change the day of this person. And that means your goals are evolving, or they're changing based on how much your identity can shift. It's very interesting to watch the evolution of you. I don't know, guys, but I want more of us to become fascinated with our own person, with understanding our own person, developing our own person, and just watching our person as a flower that's blooming, as a baby egg, somebody called it in my group. It's just so beautiful. What about a person always in fear? Hey, there's a lot of work to do. First, if you're always in fear, I will identify the things that trigger you the most and put you in fear. This is easy to do, okay? This is usually the news, gossip, constantly checking something, constantly checking your bank account, checking your, I don't know, weight, your results about something. So what are the 3D triggers? Before you address anything internal, what triggers you the most and puts you in fear? What are you watching? What are you thinking about? What are your triggers? Come up with a list of triggers. Who's who? And then who's putting you in fear? Oh, you know, I always feel like my boyfriend's gonna leave me, you know, etc. And then you know what to do with all those things. You just have to have the strength to do it. You just have to decide a point where you're more important than everybody else. I know this doesn't sound humble or anything like that, but it's not. Whoever knows my content or is working with me a long time knows that's not what I mean. I don't mean you're some type of princess sitting on a throne. I mean, if you don't, you owe to this world to bring the best version of yourself. Not in fear, but a brave and courageous person would be much more beneficial than a fearful person. A brave and courageous person with goals is much less controllable than a person in fear that if she doesn't comply, she's not going to have anything to eat. Right? So I need you to think about all of these things when you're in fear. Someone else is becoming fascinated with me. Yeah, and in this process, you fall in love with yourself, right? And you treat yourself as you are a child that you're raising. So now all of a sudden, the child that you were, that was raised by other people and infused with other people's ideas, that child is being replaced by a child you are raising. Isn't this like really mind-bending how you really can raise yourself at any age, discover yourself and look at yourself with compassion and love and be like, okay, we need to correct this thing here. You become the observer of you. And yeah, it's mind-blowing when you think of it this way. And your age doesn't matter, by the way. You can start to, if you're doing this at 20, it's better. If you're doing it at 30, you have to do it. 40, 50, 60, like you can find that peace at any point, and you can be like, no more programming for me. No more. It's going to be me raising me. Okay, so I want to pull up a message. Hang on a second, it was from our group. And this has to do with signs. Now I'm going to move into signs, and then we're going to move into sleep, and then we'll see what else we have the time for, because I go for an hour. A queen in my group says, I have a question here. Have you been asking for a sign or just appeared randomly? She's talking to somebody else. But the question is this. I had a situation where I asked for a specific sign in order to move forward with an important decision. I have received the sign, but then the whole thing didn't work very well. So I have the feeling that sometimes the signs requested or not might be small manifestations from the neutral machine related to what we have in mind and not necessarily signs to take action. Still not sure. I'm trying to figure this out. So she's on the right track here, okay? Basically, she's asking for a sign from the universe, and she's saying, if I'm supposed to do this, give me this particular sign. The universe returns her that sign, but it doesn't turn, she acts on it, and it doesn't turn out very well. I want you guys to remember, like I said before, the universe is a neutral machine that is not benevolent. Okay, it's not evil either, it's just not benevolent. And it's definitely not a conscious guide or a life coach. Okay, so she's right. Give me a sign means I'm placing my attention and my expectation on something. Give me a sign. Now when I'm saying give me a sign, I'm starting to look for a sign. I'm starting to look for it, right? Because really, when I'm asking a question, I haven't decided. My intuition is really telling me no. Think about this. If I'm asking the universe, if I'm meant to do this, give me a sign. That means my intuition is already unsure about it. So I need a sign to proceed forward. So I'm really saying no to what I'm feeling, because think about it. When you're excited about something, you want to do it. Hey, you want to take this job? Oh my God, it's my dream job. Of course I want to take this job. Hey, you want to, some guy you've always wanted or admired says you want to go out with me. Of course I want to go out with you. Of course I want to marry you. Of course. So you don't need to ask the universe for a sign. When you're asking the universe for a sign, you're expecting immediately to see the sign. Right? So she's right. It doesn't mean the sign equals wisdom. It means the sign is, the universe is returning, your signal was received. The neutral machine is saying, it's echoing back, it's mirroring the signal was received, right? So a lot of the signs are micro manifestation. Yeah, you're manifesting the sign. It's not you manifesting the sign, it's you are able to connect with the fabric of reality, the neutral machine, the formless substance, and a clear sign, but a clear sign that's coming from it, that's echoing from it. It's not evaluating timing. It's not evaluating readiness. It's not evaluating coherence of identity. It's not evaluating your state. You may be in the wrong state. So what you're doing when you're asking for a sign, it's really you're deferring the authority. It's almost for beginners, right? Like the beginners is like, I'm asking for a sign to see if you understand, if I can. The way we did it with the number, and I'm going to explain that in a second. But people misuse that, so I stopped talking about it. But whoever did it, I just want to explain it. So you're saying, as a beginner, hey, are you acknowledging me? Right? But if you're more advanced, then you're looking, the answer is really the internal coherence. To me, if I have to ask the universe for a sign, my intuition's telling me no. If it's something I really want to go for, I already know I want to really go for it. And I'm excited when the opportunity presents itself to me. And if it doesn't work out and I acted on it, guess what? I see it as an important part of my growth. The biggest part about winning is to be okay with losing. Right? because you're always going to win if you're okay with losing. That's how athletes are trained. They lose a lot of games. So the biggest part of their winning is to be okay when they lose and to understand the lesson from every loss. Think about it, right? But the way, if you're part of my group, quickly, we use a 3-digit code that we program the machine to respond with. And the 3-digit code, though, had to do with the fact that it was a specific ritual, okay? The ritual was, you have to talk to the universe, you have to be in a state where it's like after meditation, after this, you have to choose a neutral number, and you have to say to the universe, if I can speak to you, and if we can communicate back and forth, show me these numbers twice in 24 hours. Now, if you didn't get twice in 24 hours, which is already hard, okay? You're not there where you're to ask signs from the universe. You're not there. So the first part of the ritual has to work. The second part is you can't be looking for it. So once I gave my number, which is a number that has nothing to do with my life, I forgot about it. Like, I'm not looking for it. I'm not, does this car has this number? Does this address have this number? Is it in my, number here that I received from my prescription or something like that? None of that. See, Valerie, 3 years and I still haven't achieved the 3-digit code. Yeah, but you've achieved so much more. It's not an achievement. It just means this is not going to work for you. The ritualistic way of looking at it is not going to work for you. And even better, because right now it's not going to echo back to you or something. So you know that everything that you do, everything that you have the intuition to act upon comes from your internal coherence. That's all. And I don't ask, I've graduated a lot in my mind in the last 10 years since I've been doing the work, but I keep graduating, right? The universe shouldn't tell me if I should marry this guy or not. Really. Really. Because I should have developed this internal coherence and many other things socially and in my brain, like in my psychology, to understand myself enough to know how to evaluate situations, people, emotions, how to enforce boundaries, how to exercise my intuition, how to assess my feelings, how when I have negative feelings to understand if they're about me or they're about him. You know what I mean? Valerie, this is what my work is about. This is what I want to achieve. I don't want to be sitting here, hey, should I put money on this stock? Yes or no? Show me my magical number. I have to be educated enough about the markets to put money on a stock if I'm going to do it myself. What do you think about manifesting an SP? I have an SP playlist and I have my own list of manifesting my own SP. But when I totally let go of even wanting him. So I think you should watch that video. It's called My Own SP Story or something like this. I did it a while ago because now I'm married to him. Been married to him for almost 2 years. But you gotta, here's the bottom line with the SP. You gotta know exactly you and what you want and your boundaries and your needs. Both of these things, your boundaries and your needs. And you need to be okay with either the SP or somebody else returning it to you. And it might be your SP who returns it to you, but it might not be. You have to be open that your SP can come in a different body. Somebody else says, most of the days I see my codes, I see it 3 times. Yeah, if you're not in constant contact and asking these things, when you see your code, it's a very nice reminder of how the formless substance is there, how it's echoing back to you, how it's acknowledging you, how you're connected to it. And that's the best way to use it right now. That's how I see it, okay? So the neutral machine, neutral keyword, is not your life coach, does not evaluate your readiness, your identity, just executes on the sum total of your state. State being everything. Your energetic field, which may be polluted from things you watched, from people you touched, from things you ate, your thoughts, which may be polluted from other people's thoughts, from the news, from your interpretation, your wrong interpretation of events, from your wrong interpretation of meaning. It identifies your emotions. which may be not even yours, or not the right emotions because you haven't had the right thoughts about something. So they generated an emotion that was sort of programmed in you. So I want you to understand that, okay? That's what the neutral machine is. Stop deferring authority to it, okay? All it does is it will calculate the perfect path and the easiest path between you and your goal. It's there to execute your goal. And it's not really, like we talked about this, my personal view is not really even that it's executing our goal. My personal view, the more I understand quantum science and everything, I have a science background and I've always been fascinated with this. I read all the new research. I'm really, really interested in this. So I think there's all these potentialities that are already aligned. So all these possibilities of potential are already aligned. So it's not like the universe is creating anything new. It's everything's already there. That's why sometimes it can shift so quickly. You just got to align with the lifetime and lifeline of the person who's having that thing. The easiest way to do this work is from identity. So I structured this whole workbook on like 80% identity shifting. Obviously, we have to have practical exercises just to put us in a different state and a different mood, but it's all identity. I'm telling you, even now, at the end of the first month, we have a few more days because it's 28 days per month. I bet you so many people are feeling different. Guys, please don't call me. I don't take calls during my lives. My lives are educational material. Okay, then I want to talk about one more thing, sleep, which is very important in my group and to me personally. Sleep and dreams. And something came up. I think it was you, Yasmina, that said this. Let me see. You know, I need a better way to organize these things because right now all I do is I take a screenshot and I send it to my other phone. I'm so ancient. Okay, she's saying, I had trouble dreaming and remembering dreams. Lately, I've been instructing subconscious to dream and to remember. I had dreams most of the week. Therapy is working and the workbook that I'm doing is combined with it and clearing all barriers. Now, last night, I dreamt and realized my dream was just processing of my daily life, just in a different way. So I instructed the subconscious to next peek into the future and access the field instead of trying to decipher 3D. Excited to see where it goes. I just want to say that unfortunately it's not how it works, right? So let's go back to sleep and sleep and consciousness and the subconscious. So when you sleep, what happens? Your conscious mind, we all know, shuts down. It's the only thing that sleeps actually. Your body doesn't sleep either because it keeps working, your heart beats, etc. Your conscious mind is what sleeps. Your body stays awake. Your subconscious mind, it never sleeps. Okay? And what it does, your subconscious mind, the whole time you are sleeping, it's impressing into the formless substance and receiving transmissions from the formless substance, depending on what it needs to process. And there's like 4 levels of sort of what happens with the subconscious when you dream. The first level is exactly what you say, the day digestion. Like it needs to digest the day more so if there is conflicts and contradictions in the way you are acting versus the way your spirit is. So this would apply a lot for people who, you know, let's say they're in a relationship that their spirit knows is not good for them, or their spirit is warning them about, who are in a job that is a complete mismatch to their spirit. So a lot of, like if you are in a situation that there is a lot of internal conflict, a lot of difference between your soul pattern and what you do or say, or let's say you're in an environment where you have to agree to with a certain political opinion and you say yes to go along with the conversation when you really like everything against you is against that, or something like that. So any conflict, that your dreams will process that conflict in order to sedimentize identity and to check for inconsistencies. Many times nightmares happen because of that. The inconsistency is too great and it needs to be processed via something that's almost physical, like a nightmare is almost physical, right? So it needs to come out to dissolve versus one way. Okay, so that's the first level of what the subconscious does. The second thing, so if you're able to live, the more you're able to live in your truth, the less of those dreams you're going to have. And you're going to move into emotional pattern recognition, which is the second step in dreaming. So emotional pattern recognition will be dreams while you'll recognize what emotions in you are dominant, whether or not you want to acknowledge it with your conscious mind. So some emotions in you will be highly dominant, like some emotion of, let's say, rejection in childhood, you were bullied, or there's resentment for your ex, for your parents. There's a lot of unprocessed emotion that you haven't said, you haven't done. So once you start doing this work, especially identity work, the emotional pattern that's holding you back will most likely be the one that's identified in your dreams. Pay attention to that emotional pattern. Negative emotions can be resolved via a different way. As we all know, therapy, self-discovery, and religiously or even not religiously via a lot of forgiveness. All religions tell us to forgive, radical forgiveness, and your ability to forgive will be a key element of your success in eliminating negative emotional patterns. And again, to me, this never meant, oh, I have to contact this person and forgive them or anything. No, no, no. It's all within me. And I just remember somebody just treated me unfairly for a large amount of money at a time where I needed that money. It wasn't my ex, it was like a business situation. And I knew that money was owed to me. And I had to imagine, honestly, in my head, I never spoke with that person again, of course, and the universe compensated me anyways. But I had to imagine myself like giving this person a hug and just seeing every time they were good to me and all the goodness in them, and like really stuff I didn't want to do in my mind, I had to do. And I had to do that repeatedly for a few months. And then there was a day where I finally felt differently about them. Like I felt neutral about them, and I felt like I just closed the chapter and wished them well and whatever. And it's not easy to forgive someone. And that's not even, like, I'm not even talking big deal. I'm just talking money, okay? And big deal is like, physical abuse, many, many horrible things that can happen. I'm not saying it's easy to forgive. And I'm not saying, hey guys, just forgive. I'm not taking this lightly, but I'm telling you that that is the path when you have a negative emotional pattern recognition. Now, you might have an emotional pattern recognition that's not necessarily negative. It might be some unfulfilled love, and it might be a person that repeats in your mind, whether you're single or you're with somebody else. This person repeats in your mind, and there's a lot of pain in it. There's a lot of unresolved emotion there. So whatever emotional pattern I'm saying, that comes after the daily digestion, your emotional pattern recognition. Number 3, the graduating to number 3 would be the identity testing. If you've had identity testing dreams, you'll know what I'm talking about. Sometimes in your dreams, you are in that life that you envision. How does it feel to you? How does it feel to you? Does it feel weird? Are you doing something you're not supposed to be doing? I've had those kind of dreams. Anybody else had this identity testing dreams? Or you're tested in, let's say something is in front of you and you could just take it, or you could just do something bad to somebody in your dream. Are you going to do it or not? Yeah, you see a few. Yeah, so you're going to have this identity testing dreams. And then number 4, when you graduate from these, you're going to be able to go into the non-locality of the formless substance. The non-locality, and then you're going to be able to actually understand, like the field will actually give you a peek into whatever you're meant to learn at that point in time. So I'm telling you, don't be like, oh, the daily digestion is not important dream. No, it's important, because it's important to understand what in your day needs so much integration, right? And remember, everybody this. I'm very careful with what I think about when the lights go off. Like when the lights go off and I lie down in bed, what do I think about is very important to how my dreams unfold and what I imprint. I have to constantly remind myself that now the subconscious will take most of what I think about and put it through this filter when it talks to the formless substance. That's what Neville told you, and many thinkers of his era told you. Imagine the scene that you want in your head before sleep. But I don't even really do that, tell you the truth, but I'm very careful. Like if something negative comes in my mind, I'm just really careful to just be like, no, I'm not going to deal with this right now. Even something random like an email, oh yeah, I got to do it. No, when I close my eyes at night, it's not time to do my calendar. It's not time to think about what I'm going to do tomorrow. God forbid. Right? So your sleep is really your mind processing without the editor. The editor is your conscious mind. There's no editor. There's no filter. Most dreams become just integration of your person. But the clearer you are on your identity and you as a person, the less conflict you have in your life, the more aligned you are, congruent you are, then the more your dreams are going to become really meaningful. Either things that are unresolved, again, like emotions or anything, or a lot of people reported also that they are now waking up without an alarm, and I found the same thing. I set my alarm this morning because it's a snow day, so I could wake up a little later. I set it up for 9. I woke up, maybe I was lying in bed for 2 minutes, then I look at the time, and it was, by the time I look, it was 8:59. So that means I woke up at 8:57 naturally. So it's interesting how it works. It's if you set something in your mind, your body can execute, you know, which is, it has so many implications, because there's so many things we want to change in our body, right? Health-wise, or weight-wise, or toning-wise, or anything. And I believe we can achieve a lot of these things. I'm not going to say anything more about it, but yeah. I also did a video about how doing something one time or irregularly is probably not going to produce any results, because it's similar. Like our mental life or our energetic spiritual life is the same as going to the gym. Really, it's a mirror. It's the 3D is a mirror of the 5D. Okay, but the same ideas, right? As above, so below. So if you go to the gym one time, nothing's going to happen. If you go to the gym once a month, nothing's going to happen. If you meditate once a month, nothing's going to change. It's all about the daily. Hopefully you guys are doing every day. I know some people, if you fall behind one day, don't catch up. Don't catch up in terms of doing 3 days at a time. Just be where you're at with the workbook. You have a few days at the end of each month to catch up, because it's only 28 days. So, but if you're behind 1 month, that's okay. You are where you are. It's important to do it right. I want to see if there was anything else, or if you guys want to talk about anything else. If not, we can talk a little bit about dating, relationships. Let's see. I saw something funny. There's this dating coach that I follow, because she's just like coming down on everyone. And she basically did a video on why are women even responding to half messages or messages that say WYD. And I just looked at the comments to see, for me, it's just such a no-brainer, right? But I looked at the comments to see, and I was happy to see like women saying the same thing. WYD, 10 times a day, goodbye, blocked. Another one, immediately blocked. I don't even explain. Another one, baby, listen, after the second WYD, they are blocked. Another one saying, I don't even respond to WYD at all. It grinds my gears so bad. So look, this comes down to boundaries and standards, right? Boundaries and standards. And, you know, there's some things that are so far from my expectations and what I want that many women, many times, they feel like they have to fix this man. We don't have to fix anyone, okay? Because the more you develop yourself, and this kind of interactions will become a joke, and it will be so easy for you to move past them. WYD, or, you know, love bombing, or what have you, or texting for like 5 weeks before a meeting, you won't feel like you'll do any of the stuff to do any of it. It's crazy. It's crazy to me that you even entertain something like that. It's like, okay, how is this interaction benefiting me, if anything? And where are my boundaries, and what are you doing? Like, am I talking to a man to have one more person to report to? Like, You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these things are very, no-brainers, right? No-brainers. We had another interesting exercise in, which I've done in a list. And this was on contradictions. Okay, the contradictions we have in our mind. And I've actually done my list here and on contradictions. And I told you to choose one desire that you have, one goal that you have, and identify what's in your mind that supports that desire and what's in your mind that contradicts that desire. And I guarantee you, if you haven't found something there and your desire hasn't come to pass, it's not a good thing. You should have found some contradictions there. And you should always constantly check yourself for contradictions. I think between trying to figure out the how and contradicting our own selves, those two things are the biggest killers. Yeah, contradiction in belief, exactly. So, for example, when you want to get married and the belief that you can find an amazing man and the belief that men are really predatory and scary and what have you, right? So, of course, men can be both. Men can be both protectors, providers, and bad people or dangerous people. So that's just an easy example how this is constantly in our minds as women. It's a contradictory thought of choosing to be with a man or not. Somebody says, I have PTSD from my ex. Common experience. Yeah, you can have PTSD from everything. I have PTSD from my baby waking up at night for 2.5 years when she was, I'm sure of it. That's where my sleep completely ruined forever. Forever, you know. And to the point that, you know, I'm divorced from her dad, I'm remarried to somebody else. But from the point that she wasn't even with me and I would wake up like in a jolt, I would hear her in my sleep. So you can have PTSD from basically anything that has traumatized you in any way, even a positive thing such as having a baby. This is why it's important to understand what your personal triggers are. How many children? I have one child. I guess with more children, I have a friend who has 4 kids. She tells me I haven't slept in like 15 years, 10 years. It's funny. Yeah, sleep is important, guys. So the more you can sleep properly, dream properly. I understand where this conversation is going. A lot of people don't even have that option. A lot of people are so stressed out with babies and just raising a family that they're not there yet. And I know I worked with someone who just came to the conclusion that she wanted to do this work so badly. And she said, I want to, do a few sessions. Tell me what to get, tell me what to read, tell me. By the time we got to the 4th or 5th week of working together, I realized she wasn't really doing anything. And then she was starting to feel guilty towards me. And I said, don't. That's not the point of this. As you said, you're just not at that time in your life and at the point in your life where you can do these things, right? Because for you, journaling or reading this passage or contemplating on this is just one more task to do between taking your older parents to their appointments and raising your 3 kids. And it was just too much. I said, you're just not in a point where you can prioritize yourself. And I think you guys need to understand that, and that's okay. There's still small things you can do to keep such as your interpretation of events, the way you look at things, change the meaning of things to be something beneficial to you without actually doing the work or seeing it as a chore. But without doing the whole work, I don't think you can get the full benefits of it. It might not be, I couldn't have done this work when, I had a baby. It just, the mind is not there. So that's why I tell all my single girls, like, if you're single right now, that's the best time to do this work. What made you get into inner work? It was basically the fact that I acknowledged, even as a child and definitely as a teen, that there is this thing beneath the thing that we're living. And I needed to know what it was. I needed to understand. It's just there. it can't not be explored. Like I'm a curious person, and I'm a science person, and I want to understand this thing. I'm glad science is going more and more in that direction and presenting to us all these ideas. But once I know that there's something, it's just like having a box and there's something in it. You got to open it to see what's in it. And once you open it, you kind of have to figure out what to do with it. And this is a long, long process. But now it doesn't have to be that, right? Now it doesn't have to be that because there's so many resources out there. When I was a teen, there was nothing. But now if you're a teen or if you're just coming up 20, under 25, it's the best time to start seeing life from a different perspective. Don't just be concerned with the material aspects of life. All of that will be added onto you. But I think the biggest mistake that people can fall into is to going into all of this new age spiritual junk, in my opinion, of self-development. Because it has a lot of contradicting ideas. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but a lot of new age people are converting to a religion, and I don't know if it's just to the Christian religion but I've seen several videos of people just saying, I renounced all my new age practices and followed Jesus or something like this. Maybe it's not just with Jesus, but just going back to my original Muslim religion or something like this. I understand why that happens. I understand completely why that happens. Because the mind collapses under the pressure of all these contradictory beliefs. Like creating your reality or picking your reality or getting to a certain goal is completely contradictory to reading the future. Right? If I don't read the future, if I think I'm creating it or I'm steering it in that direction, if I'm thinking multiverse or what have you, how can I read it? If my future is fixed, then there's nothing I need to do. Then I just need to accept the grunt of this life. And that's okay. There's people who do that and they're at peace with whatever life comes. These are generally very religious people that would take anything. Anything is the will of God and it's fine. So that's the number one thing. All these readings that are very confusing. A lot of them talk to spirits, which to me, although I believe there's a spiritual realm where entities do exist, it's not just us and God. I believe we, through the apparatus that we have, this body, okay, in this mind, in this brain, we cannot discern anything in the spirit world. The way we are with these 5D beings is sort of the way I relate or my cat relates to me. So my cat may understand that I'm benevolent to it, but can never understand my intention or my meaning. You know what I mean? I can't explain to my cat who I really am. I can't explain to my cat. If I'm good or bad as a person in this world, I could still be good to my cat. But my intention may be evil in general. And the cat is all I have. Do you know what I'm saying? So a lot of these people who are converting to religion, who have dabbled into this mediumship and spiritual content, a lot of these people are saying, the spirits were telling me to kill myself. They were telling me to do X and Y and Z and bad things or talking in my head nonstop, not letting me rest, not giving me peace. How can I dabble into something when I know for a fact I cannot have discernment? I cannot have it. And it's the same with plant medicine. For me, it's the same thing. I understand really a lot about the science of the brain. And I understand that inducing certain chemicals in the brain produces different reactions, hallucinations, visions, which may have nothing to do with the truth. They may be true, but I would never know. I would never know if I saw an angel while high, if it's an angel, or if it's an angel image I saw in a movie when I was 5, coming to life because of the chemicals in my brain. And that's where I'm at with New Age, like sort of in a nutshell. What I can't discern, I don't go into, and the future cannot be read. That would be in complete contradiction with me creating my future. And karma, I'm not there at all. I'm not there at all. I don't even want to acknowledge it at all, because people, when they're saying, oh, that's my karma, or that was the soul contract that I made to live with this asshole for 20 years, or what have you, they don't understand the implications of what they're saying. If you believe in karma, you must be okay with everything that happens in the world. So you must be okay with seeing a 5-year-old being abused and saying that is their soul's karma and their soul's contract. And I'm not there mentally. See, I feel like crying when I'm even saying. I don't know if people understand that this is what they're subscribing to when they're talking about karma. If it's your karma to be with an asshole and then to be happy, then it's everything that happens, it was their karma. And that's how it is. And if you're okay with that, if you're okay looking at a child suffering and saying, I guess they were an abuser in a past life, then you can go and investigate karma. Although I can't do it, and I won't do it. And I'm interested in the multiverse. I'm interested in how I can tune into the reality I want. I know there's a version of me that's better than who I am today. Always, always. No matter how good I get, there's always a better version of me. And I'm interested in growing between now and the rest of my life. And that's all. And whoever's on this path with me, that's what I have to offer. You will feel better and better. Circumstances will reflect that. In what proportion, I don't know. It will be up to you, and up to the work, and up to your capacity to understand yourself and apply these things, and your discipline, and so many other things. That's where I'm at. I go for 1 hour. So I'm on every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I post all my lives on my YouTube channel at Mona Khad, same link. Go through the link in my bio, see if anything that I have to offer is for you. If it's not, no problem. If it is, join us. Let's put our hands together. I end all my lives with the 369 tapping of I am a winner. One breath in. I am a winner. 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 I am a winner.